What would a Romney presidency be like? Day one, President Romney immediately approves the Keystone Pipeline, creating thousands of jobs that Obama blocked. President Romney introduces tax cuts and reforms that reward job creators, not punish them. President Romney issues order to begin replacing Obamacare with common sense health care reform. That's what a Romney presidency will be like.
As presumptive Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney transitions into the general election, Texas Congressman Ron Paul says the GOP race is not over yet. The man with the growing fan base also has a growing roster of delegates. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron looks at what Paul's endgame might be.
This weekend at the Maine State GOP convention, Paul backers elected 23 out of 24 delegates for Paul. But Romney won the Maine caucuses earlier this year. Romney won Nevada too, but at his state GOP convention over the weekend, Paul backers laid claim to 22 of 28 delegates. Romney won his home state primary of Massachusetts. But Paul delegates so dominated the Bay State's recent GOP convention that Paul backers could control more than half the state's delegation at the national convention. Embarrassing for the presumptive nominee. Rick Santorum won Louisiana and Minnesota at the ballot box, but he withdrew from the race, and that allowed Paul backers in both states to secure delegate majorities at both of those states' recent GOP conventions. And in the next 3 months, Paul is hoping to pack more state delegations with his supporters in states like Washington, Missouri, Nebraska, Idaho, and even Iowa, the First in the Nation caucus state. They are all but certain to nominate Romney, but their numbers suggest that when they get to the convention, a lot of it's going to be about Ron Paul, Brett.
Right now today, there are a lot of people fast-forwarding to the general election. They're behind the Romney camp's line that it's essentially a Romney-Obama race. Not so fast. Take a deep breath, folks.
This thing is really something. He is winning these states with these state and district conventions, and he is racking up delegates, and it is continuing. Nevada, Maine, you're going to have a challenge from the Romney campaign, I believe, up in Maine about the specific rules there. But you're going to see accumulation of delegates for the Ron Paul campaign, and he is going to be a major factor in Tampa.
Republicans don't understand the important aspects of what Ron Paul is saying, that I don't think we'll continue to exist as a party, certainly not as a majority party. The fact is, if we don't listen to other aspects like getting our budget under control, we're not going to have the money to be a foreign power.
He sounds like you.
So, well, the debate in the Republican Party needs to be between libertarians and conservatives. That's what our party needs to be about. There's no longer room for moderates and liberals because we don't have any money to spend. So I don't want to be debating with someone who thinks we need to grow government.
Well, but why Ron Paul? I mean, I get it. You want sound fiscal policy. You want smaller government. But aren't there conservative choices that don't think that Israel maybe shouldn't be protected with some military help and some of the other legalizing marijuana and some of the other crazy ideas he has?
The unaccountable and out-of-control Federal Reserve, the individual liberty, the constitutional limited government, those are the concepts that Ron Paul is bringing forward. And all of our country needs to listen to that, because those are the things that made this country so great.
First of all, he's the only candidate with a base, and that's really important. All of these.
What do you mean the only candidate with a base? Mitt Romney has the establishment.
Well, but that's a fundraising base. Ron Paul is the only guy out there with a real base of people that support him. When in politics, political strategists talk about a base, Romney doesn't have a base. His base is fundraising. It's just kind of an air game. Ron Paul knocks on doors. He's got people behind him.
Can he get the Republican nomination?
Oh yes, I think he can. I think he will be in it till the end. I mean, we know that much for sure. He's in it for the distance. I mean, Romney will be in it. Ron Paul will be in it. I would predict you could have all the way to the convention floor Ron Paul versus Mitt, and Ron Paul could very well win. The big problem Romney would have is he just can't turn the base on at all. And we're seeing today he's not even strong on independents. Ron Paul really beat him with independents in New Hampshire. Romney is just all money. It's all on Air Force.
Got it.
So he has neither base nor independent.
You know, the guy gets bigger crowds than Mitt Romney does. But the real fight for Ron Paul and his supporters is no longer on the campaign trail. What his campaign is focused on is the Republican convention in August, and it's working the delegate selection rules at county and state conventions around the country. And boy, is it paying off. Take Maine, for example. Romney won the narrow victory in the February caucuses, but it was a non-binding election, as we told you then. The actual delegates were chosen on Sunday in Augusta. And guess what? 21 of the 24 went to Ron Paul. he won the state of Maine as far as the convention rules are concerned. It was a different strategy in Nevada, another state that Romney won back in February. Now, those caucuses were binding. So Ron Paul can't win the delegates for himself, but what did his supporters do? They can still get chosen as the delegates. And they did. They won 22 of the 25 spots up for grabs. So that means while they can't vote for Ron Paul at the convention on the first ballot, they can carry his ideology with them to Tampa. And that means something, and I'll explain. Same story in Massachusetts. All the delegates are pledged to vote for their former governor. But even in a state where Romney won more than 70% of the vote, it's Paul's supporters that are going to fill 16 of the state's 38 delegate seats. Now, Paul's supporters have even denied Romney's former lieutenant governor, Kerry Healy. But what happens if Ron Paul's supporters decide to stir the pot? For one, they can do some serious damage to Romney's attempts to unify the party. Even if they can't vote for Paul, it's possible that Paul's supporters turned delegates may just refuse to vote, maybe rather than vote for Mitt Romney. That's possible.
All told, Ron Paul and his supporters have had victories in Nevada, Maine, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Alaska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Washington. That's 8 states. The question is, will Mitt Romney trip over it?
All set.